Good morning, everyone. Today we're presenting the CRC Evans Limited versus Pettifer case.
My name is Safri.
Anthony.
Geet.
Richard.
Victor.
We will begin talking about the key facts of the case. This case began on January 13th, 1997. The plaintiff of this case is the company CRC Evans Canada Limited. Hereafter, they will be known as CRC. CRC is claiming damages from the defendants Donald Allen Pettifer, hereinafter known as Pettifer, Edward K. Bohutch, hereinafter known as Bohutch, and Rocky Mountain Pipe Equipment Incorporated, hereinafter known as Rocky Mountain. Only one witness was at trial, the president of CRC, Lawrence Wanger. The defendants did not provide any evidence. Since no evidence was provided, Wanger's evidence was partially based on assumptions. In 1988, Wanger Limited acquired CRC Canada and began employing the defendants. No written contract was made between Wanger and the defendants. Both Pettifer and Bohutch's position in the company had managerial duties. Pettifer was the head of the service department and had the right to fire and hire employees. Bohutch was the sales manager and had authorization to make a decision without the consent of Wanger. Pettifer handed in his resignation on March 19, 1991, but requested to end his employment at the end of March. Bohutch resigned immediately after April 16th. Pettifer had been planning to form Rocky Mountain since December 1990. In February 1991, he started to negotiate with the American suppliers about providing equipment to him. The formation of Rocky Mountain happened on April 2, 1991. During his employment with CRC, Bohutch abused the power of his position in the company and helped Pettifer bid on a project. Based on Bohutch and Pettifer's position in the company and their salary, it was concluded that there was a breach of fiduciary duty. Bohutch and Pettifer should have been bound for 12 months for fiduciary duty if the defendants were terminated. CRC was able to claim damages of the loss of profits within the 12 months. Since most of the exhibits were based on the assumptions made by Wanger, 20% would be discounted on the damage claims.
What are the primary issues presented to the court by CRC? The first issue is whether the defendant owed a fiduciary duty to CRC Evans. Did Bohutch and Pettifer break their fiduciary duty? How much of profit did CRC Evans lose due to Bohutch's and Pettifer's actions? Did Bohutch and Pettifer act within a reasonable time after leaving? Also, could they have gained something from starting up Rocky Mountains? Furthermore, did the defendants speak truthfully to Wanger about their reasons to leave? Also, the court needs to determine the time in which Pettifer and Bohutch started conspiring against CRC Evans. Did they have a duty/responsibility to CRC Evans? And lastly, was their role in CRC Evans essential to the business?
Did Pettifer and Bohutch have a fiduciary duty to CRC? Bohutch was able to make decisions that affected profitability, and he made most of the bidding for big pipe projects. He also had managerial duties. He managed a small sales staff and promoted to customers. He also had extensive knowledge in the industry. He was familiar with the pricing schedule used in CRC and was familiar with the CRC customers and the two-step bidding process. Pettifer, the other defendant, had knowledge of the equipment used in pipeline construction, and his innovative approach to the equipment allowed him to make certain modifications that assisted his employer. He was allowed to hire and fire people in the service department. He also purchased materials and trained staff and maintained performance of staffs. He had to ensure that construction companies were supplied with functioning equipment. Both were authorized and responsible to make key decisions for the best interests of CRC. Both were key and trusted employees. Because of this, they had fiduciary duty.
Next, the court must decide how long the fiduciary duty should exist after Pettifer's and Bohutch's employment with CRC Evans ends. The court finds it appropriate to determine the non-competition period by using the expected notice each employee should receive if they were to be terminated without cause. Feasible notice for Pettifer and Bohutch would be between 15 and 18 months. This is based on experience, years of service, economic condition, and position in the company, among other factors. Since reasonable notice and non-competition from fiduciary duty are different concepts, the court adjusts the non-competition period from 15 to 18 months to 12 months. Now, the court must decide the amount of damages Rocky Mountain should pay to CRC Evans. CRC is awarded with profits lost to Rocky Mountain within the 12-month non-competition period. CRC estimated, with assumptions, the lost profits to be rewarded. Rocky Mountain did not provide documentation to help CRC make accurate estimates. Therefore, the amounts are based solely on CRC's assumptions. The court reduces CRC's estimated lost profits by 20% because of possible errors in these assumptions.
Impact of the case on businesses. What the decisions say about the law. The court's attempts to make their decisions and outcomes to be fair. Judge reduced the damages awarded to the plaintiff by 20% because some of the assumptions may contain errors. What does this case say about the impact of the law on businesses? The employer is protected from key employees leaving with important knowledge and expertise and then competing directly with their former employer. This prevents the employees from causing major detriments to the former employer's company. The law also helps employees who have left a former employer. The employer cannot restrict the former employee's activities to make a living. Former employees are allowed to restrict former employees' activity to some degree. However, employers cannot restrict these employees for unreasonable periods.
What should have been done differently in this case and in the future? There are a few things that can be done differently. Bohutch, while still an employee to Wagner, should not have supplied bidding information to Pettifer. Wagner should have received information on Rocky Mountains to make it more accurate to estimate the damages. Pettifer should not have had attempted to convince Bohutch to quit his position at CRC Evans. Lastly, both Pettifer and Bohutch should not have been forming a direct competition with Rocky Mountains immediately after leaving CRC Evans.
Thanks for watching and have a good day.